June 22, 1941. Kiev, Soviet Ukraine. Lyudmila Pavlichenko is 24 years old, a history student at Kiev University, when the German invasion begins. She's in the library researching her thesis on Bohdan Khmelnytsky, the 17th century Ukrainian Cossack leader, when the air raid sirens start wailing. She runs outside with hundreds of other students. The sky above Kiev is filled with aircraft, dozens of them. Heinkel He-111 bombers in tight formation, their distinctive glass noses glinting in the morning sun. The bombs fall like rain, whistling through the air before detonating in massive explosions that shake the ground and shatter windows 3 blocks away. This is Operation Barbarossa, Hitler's invasion of the Soviet Union. 3 million German soldiers crossing the border simultaneously along a front stretching from the Baltic Sea to the Black Sea. The largest military invasion in human history, and Lyudmila Pavlichenko is about to become one of its most lethal participants. She doesn't run to the bomb shelters like the other students. She runs to the Osovyachim recruiting office, the Soviet paramilitary sports organization where she spent the past 4 years learning to shoot. Not recreational shooting, competitive marksmanship. She's a member of the Osovia KHM Sharpshooting Club, holder of the Voroshilov Sharpshooter Badge, and one of the best rifle shots in Kiev. The recruiting office is chaos. Hundreds of men pushing through the doors, shouting, demanding to be enlisted immediately. The recruitment officers can barely process them fast enough. When Lyudmila reaches the front of the line, the officer, a grey-haired sergeant with a chest full of medals from the Civil War, doesn't even look up. Name, age, occupation. Lyudmila Mikhailovna Pavlichenko, 24, university student. Medical Corps, report to. Infantry, I want infantry assignment. Now he looks up. Takes in her appearance, young woman, slim build, wearing a university dress and carrying textbooks. He shakes his head. Medical Corps, we need nurses, not. I'm a Voroshilov sharpshooter. I can shoot better than half the men in this room. The sergeant's expression shifts from dismissive to skeptical. The Voroshilov badge isn't easy to earn. It requires hitting targets at 200 meters with iron sights, consistently, under pressure. You have proof. Lyudmila pulls out her Osovia KHM membership card and shooting certification. The sergeant studies them, then her, then the growing line of men behind her who are starting to laugh. A woman wanting infantry duty. It's absurd. Women belong in factories, in hospitals, in support roles, not in combat. Tell you what, the sergeant says, loud enough for the men to hear. There's a rifle range 3 blocks from here. You go there, qualify under combat conditions, and I'll approve your transfer to infantry. Fair. He's expecting her to decline, expecting her to accept the medical corps posting and stop wasting his time. Instead, Lyudmila nods. Fair. Let's go now. 30 minutes later, she's at the range with a borrowed Mosin Nagant rifle, the standard Soviet infantry weapon. 5-shot bolt action, 7.62 caliber, iron sights. The sergeant sets up targets at 100 meters, 200 meters, 300 meters. Standard qualification distances. 5 shots per target, he says. You need 80% accuracy to pass infantry qualification. Lyudmila chambers around, settles into prone position, and begins shooting. The Mosin Nagant kicks hard against her shoulder, much harder than the competition rifles she's used to. But the fundamentals are the same. Breath control, trigger squeeze, follow through. 5 shots at 100 meters, 4 hits, 1 near miss. 5 shots at 200 meters, 5 hits. 5 shots at 300 meters, 4 hits, 1 miss low. 13 hits out of 15 shots. 87% accuracy. The sergeant stares at the targets, then at Lyudmila, then back at the targets. Behind him, the laughing men have gone silent. "Report to the 25th Chapyev Rifle Division," he says quietly. "Infantry sniper trainee. You ship out in 3 days." Lyudmila nods, returns the rifle, and walks back to the university to withdraw from her classes. Her thesis on Bohdan Khmelnytsky will remain unfinished, but she's about to make history of a different kind. In 3 months, she'll kill 309 German soldiers, and the Wehrmacht will send an entire regiment to stop her. August 10, 1941. Belyaevka near Odessa. The German infantryman is 400 meters away, partially concealed behind a destroyed farm cart. He thinks he's safe. He's wrong. Lyudmila lies in a drainage ditch, her Mosin Nagant equipped with a PE-4X scope propped on a sandbag. She's been in this position for 3 hours, waiting. Sniper work is 90% patience, 10% execution. You wait for the perfect shot. Wait for the enemy to make a mistake. Wait for the moment when all variables align. The German stands up slightly, adjusting his position. Fatal error. Lyudmila centers the crosshairs on his chest, center mass, largest target area, and squeezes the trigger. The rifle barks. Through the scope, she sees the German jerk backward and collapse. Her spotter, a veteran sergeant named Leonid, marks it in his notebook. Confirmed. That's 2 today. 17 total. 17 kills in 11 days. Lyudmila has transitioned from university student to combat sniper faster than anyone in her regiment expected. The first kill was difficult. She spent an entire day psychologically preparing herself to take a human life. The second was easier. By the 10th, it was mechanical. By the 17th, it's just mathematics. Range, wind speed, elevation, breathing rhythm. The siege of Odessa has been underway for 2 weeks. Romanian and German forces are attempting to capture the city, a vital Black Sea port. The Soviet 25th Chapyev Division is dug in around the city perimeter, fighting a desperate defense against overwhelming numbers. They're outnumbered 3-1, outgunned, running low on ammunition and supplies, but they have snipers, and snipers are force multipliers. Movement, 11 o'clock, 350 meters, Leonid whispers, scanning through binoculars. 2 targets, officers by the uniform insignia. Officers, high-value targets. Killing an enlisted man removes 1 soldier from the battlefield. Killing an officer disrupts command structure, creates confusion, degrades enemy effectiveness. Lyudmila shifts position slightly, scanning for the targets. There, 2 German officers standing near a camouflaged command post, studying maps. They're 350 meters away, partially obscured by vegetation. Difficult shot, but not impossible, she calculates quickly. Range, 350 meters. Wind, light left to right, maybe 5 kilometers per hour. Elevation, slight downward angle. She adjusts her aim 2 centimeters right to compensate for wind, aims for the chest of the nearest officer. Breathe, hold, squeeze. The rifle kicks. Through the scope, she sees the officer crumple. The second officer freezes for a moment, fatal hesitation, and Lyudmila has already chambered another round. She fires again. The second officer drops. Both down, Leonid confirms. Clean shots. 19 confirmed. Around them, the siege continues. Artillery pounds German positions. Machine guns chatter. Somewhere in the distance, Soviet Katyusha rockets scream overhead, their distinctive sound earning them the German nickname, Stalin's organs. But in Lyudmila's sector, her sector, the Germans have learned to be careful, to stay low, to move only at night, because there's a Soviet sniper out there who doesn't miss. By the end of August, her kill count reaches 42. By September, 87. The regimental commander calls her into his headquarters, a sandbagged bunker that smells of cigarette smoke and damp concrete. "Comrade Pavlichenko," he says, consulting her file. You've achieved the second highest kill count in the division. The NKVD wants to verify your claims. The NKVD, Soviet secret police. Every sniper kill has to be confirmed by a spotter and documented. But high-performing snipers are sometimes audited to prevent false claims. It's insulting, but Lyudmila understands. Propaganda matters. The Soviet people need heroes. Bring the auditors, she says calmly. My spotter has documentation for every kill. Names, dates, circumstances. The audit takes 2 days. NKVD officers review Leonid's notebooks, interview other soldiers who witnessed her shots, examine the tactical maps showing kill locations. In the end, they confirm 87 enemy soldiers killed, all legitimate, all verified. Continue your work, comrade, the lead auditor says. The motherland needs soldiers like you. Lyudmila returns to the front lines. The killing continues. October 15, 1941. Crimean Peninsula. The German sniper has been hunting her for 3 days. Lyudmila knows he's out there, somewhere in the ruins of the village, concealed among the rubble, waiting for her to make a mistake. She's seen his work. Yesterday, he killed a Soviet lieutenant at 500 meters, clean headshot. This morning, a radio operator at 400 meters. Both kills showed professional marksmanship, good positioning, patience. The Wehrmacht has sent counter-snipers specifically to kill her. She's become a problem. Soviet propaganda broadcasts her achievements, Lady Death, they call her in the German trenches. The girl who kills fascists like others pick flowers. It's psychological warfare, and it's working. German soldiers in her sector are terrified. So the Wehrmacht responded by sending their best. Experienced snipers from the Eastern Front, men who have been hunting humans since the invasion of Poland. Men who kill other snipers for a living. Lyudmila sits in a collapsed building, studying the terrain through a narrow gap in the rubble. She hasn't moved in 6 hours, hasn't eaten, hasn't even shifted position, because the enemy sniper is watching, waiting for movement. The first person to move loses. This is sniper versus sniper combat. Chess played with rifles at 500 meters. Every decision matters. Every movement could be fatal. Her spotter, Leonid, is 10 meters behind her, scanning with binoculars. He whispers without moving his lips. Possible position, 2 o'clock. Second floor of the brick building, window with curtain. Lyudmila shifts her gaze slowly. The brick building is 450 meters away. The window with the curtain looks abandoned. Shattered glass, faded fabric. Perfect sniper hide. Too perfect. Maybe. Could be a decoy position designed to draw her fire and reveal her location. She doesn't shoot. Waits. Watches. 20 minutes pass. Nothing moves. Then, subtle, barely perceptible, the curtain shifts. Not wind, not random movement. Someone adjusted it from behind. Lyudmila makes her decision. She can't see the sniper directly, but she can calculate his likely position based on the curtain movement. He'd be standing back from the window, rifle resting on something stable, shooting through a small gap in the fabric. Standard technique. She aims not at the window, but at where the sniper's head would be if he's standing in proper shooting position. It's an impossible shot. Shooting blind through curtain fabric at a target she can't see, 450 meters away. But she's made impossible shots before. Breathe, hold, squeeze. The rifle kicks. The 7.62 round punches through the curtain and into the room beyond. For a moment, nothing. Then the curtain is yanked aside, and a body falls forward through the window. A German soldier in camouflage smock, clutching a carabiner 98K rifle with scope. Leonid's voice cracks with excitement. Target down. That's. Lady, that's incredible. You shot him without even seeing him. Write it down, Lyudmila says calmly, already scanning for the next threat. One enemy sniper, 450 meters. Her kill count reaches 142. The next German counter-sniper arrives a week later, and the one after that. Some are good. Most die within days. One survives for 11 days before Lyudmila catches him repositioning at dawn, backlit by the rising sun, visible for 3 seconds. 3 seconds is enough. She fires once. The sniper falls. By late October, her count is 187. The Germans have stopped sending individual snipers. Instead, they try artillery. When they spot her muzzle flash, they call in mortar strikes, saturating the area with high explosive. Lyudmila learns to shoot and move immediately. Never stay in position after firing. Always assume the enemy is tracking you. The Soviet High Command takes notice. She's summoned to divisional headquarters, where a general she's never met pins the Order of the Red Banner to her uniform, one of the Soviet Union's highest military decorations. Comrade Pavlichenko, the general says, you've killed 187 fascist invaders. You're becoming a symbol, a hero the Soviet people can rally behind. I'm just doing my job, Comrade General, and you'll continue doing it. But carefully. If you die, the propaganda value is lost. Stay alive, comrade. That's an order. Lyudmila salutes and returns to the front. Staying alive, she thinks, is easier said than done when an entire German regiment wants you dead. December 1941, May 1942. Sevastopol. The siege of Sevastopol is where Lyudmila Pavlichenko transforms from elite sniper to living legend. The city is surrounded. German and Romanian forces have cut off all land routes. The only supplies reaching the defenders come by ship across the Black Sea, a gauntlet of German dive bombers and naval mines. The Soviet defenders are trapped in a fortress city, outnumbered, outgunned, slowly being ground down by artillery and attrition. But they're not surrendering. Lyudmila operates in the northern sector, where German positions are so close you can hear enemy soldiers talking. Sometimes 50 meters separate Soviet and German trenches. At night, you can smell their cigarettes, hear them singing. Know that tomorrow you might kill the man whose voice you heard in the darkness. She's refined her technique over 6 months of combat. No longer the university student learning on the job. Now she's a predator who understands her prey. She knows German tactical doctrine, their patrol schedules, their vulnerabilities. She knows that German officers wear different uniforms, better targets. That radio operators carry distinctive equipment, high-value kills. That machine gunners position themselves in predictable locations. Eliminate them and infantry attacks stall. Every kill is strategic. Every shot calculated for maximum psychological impact. By January 1942, her count reaches 257. By March, 289. The Germans in her sector have started calling her the Invisible Death. Soldiers refuse to stand up in daylight. Officers move only under covering fire. The entire German frontline in her sector has become paralyzed by fear of a single Soviet woman with a rifle. Then comes the order that changes everything. A German colonel, commandant of the 132nd Infantry Regiment, has positioned himself in a fortified bunker 600 meters from Soviet lines. He's directing artillery fire, coordinating attacks, and he's good at his job. His regiment has pushed Soviet defenses back 3 kilometers in 2 weeks. Command wants him eliminated. Can you make the shot? Her regimental commander asks. Lyudmila studies the intelligence photos. The bunker has 6-foot-thick concrete walls, firing slits barely wide enough for binoculars, and it's surrounded by minefields and barbed wire. The colonel shows himself twice daily, morning and evening, to observe the battlefield through binoculars. He's visible for maybe 30 seconds each time. I can make the shot, Lyudmila says, but I need 3 days to position and 1 clear weather window. She gets 4 days and cloudy skies. Not ideal, but workable. She establishes her hide 630 meters from the bunker, farther than her usual engagement range, but necessary to avoid German patrols. The position is a shell crater partially filled with rubble, camouflaged with vegetation and debris. She and Leonid crawl into position before dawn, settle in, and begin the wait. Day 1. The colonel appears for 20 seconds in the morning. Lyudmila has the shot lined up but holds fire. The light is wrong, wind unpredictable. She waits. Day 2, evening appearance. 17 seconds visible, still not right. The wind is gusting. Any shot could be deflected centimeters off target at this range. She waits. Day 3, morning. The colonel emerges at exactly 700 hours, German punctuality. He raises his binoculars to scan Soviet lines. Wind drops to 5 kilometers per hour. Light is good. 15 seconds of exposure. Lyudmila exhales slowly, settles the crosshairs on his chest, leads the target slightly to compensate for the gentle wind. Squeeze, the Mosin Nagant cracks. Across 630 meters, the bullet takes 0.9 seconds to reach the target. The German colonel jerks backward and disappears into the bunker. Hit, Leonid confirms through binoculars. He's down. Comrades are pulling him inside. The German 132nd Infantry Regiment loses its commander. Their attacks in that sector cease for a week, while new command structure is established. Kill number 294. Lyudmila has 15 more to go before reaching 309, and the Wehrmacht is running out of patience. June 1942. Sevastopol. Kill 309. The mortar shell that almost kills Lyudmila Pavlichenko lands 3 meters from her position. She's tracking a German machine gun team, high-value targets preparing to suppress a Soviet counterattack, when the Germans drop artillery on her location. Not random fire, directed fire. They've spotted her muzzle flash, calculated her position, and called in a fire mission specifically designed to kill her. The first shell lands long, the second short. The third, classic artillery bracketing technique, is dead on target. Lyudmila throws herself flat as the 81 mortar round detonates. Shrapnel screams overhead. The blast wave picks her up and slams her into the trench wall. Her ears ring. Blood streams from her nose. She can't hear, can't see clearly, can't breathe. Leonid is screaming something, but the words are muffled, distant. He's dragging her backward, away from the impact zone. Maury shells are falling. The Germans have her position zeroed, and they're saturating the entire area with high explosive. She blacks out. When she wakes, she's in a field hospital 20 kilometers behind the lines. A doctor is examining her head wound, shrapnel fragments embedded in her scalp, concussion, perforated eardrum, facial lacerations. You're done, the doctor says. You're being evacuated to Moscow, Stalin's orders. I can still fight. No, comrade, you can barely stand. You have shrapnel in your skull. Another concussion could kill you. The doctor's voice softens. You've done enough. 309 confirmed kills. You're one of the most successful snipers in the Red Army. The motherland needs you alive, not dead in a trench. 309. She didn't even realize she'd reached it. The last few days are a blur of combat. Shooting, moving, shooting again. Somewhere in that chaos, she crossed the threshold that will define her for the rest of her life. She's evacuated by submarine, one of the last vessels to escape Sevastopol before the city falls. In Moscow, she's awarded the Hero of the Soviet Union Medal, the highest military decoration. Stalin himself pins it to her uniform in a ceremony attended by foreign journalists. The Americans are fascinated. A woman sniper, killing hundreds of Germans. It's propaganda gold. First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt invites her to tour the United States, a goodwill mission to strengthen the US-Soviet alliance. Lyudmila spends 3 months in America in 1942, giving speeches, attending rallies, meeting with labor unions and women's groups. American women ask her about beauty routines and fashion. She tells them about killing Nazis. The disconnect is surreal. In the Soviet Union, she says at one rally in Chicago, women are defending their homeland with weapons, not just working in factories, fighting, killing the enemy. Why aren't American women in combat? The speech is controversial, but it resonates. Lyudmila becomes a symbol not just of Soviet military prowess, but of women's capability in combat roles. She never returns to frontline duty. The concussion damage is permanent. Her hearing is compromised, her reflexes degraded. The Red Army assigns her to training duties, teaching new snipers the techniques she perfected in 8 months of combat. She survives the war, returns to university, completes her history degree 15 years late, works as a historian, marries, has a son, lives quietly in Kiev, the city where her war began. She dies in 1974, age 58, from complications related to her wartime injuries. But 309 remains. 309 confirmed kills in less than 1 year of combat. The most successful female sniper in military history. A university student who became a hunter. A woman who proved that in war, deadly effectiveness has no gender. The Germans sent counter-snipers, then artillery, then an entire regiment. None of them stopped her. A mortar shell finally did, 3 meters from ending her life, but far enough that she survived to tell the story. 309 German soldiers never knew what hit them.